All right, welcome back to UAP Rant, second episode in the series. Having thought about starting this little rant for a while in 5-minute episodes, just to bring together a whole lot of concepts and ideas from my last 5, 6, 7 years of research into this topic. And that includes a research program, presentations and ResearchGate, journal publications, a book on the science of UAP coming out, and an autobiography on my life as an experiencer. Today I thought I would choose a person in particular, and we will have a series of 5-minute rants on a few people in particular, or key people historically in terms of UAP that don't even seem to be in the current UAP debate or arena in terms of history or even what's going on now. Now, that person in particular is James Clerk Maxwell. Now, he's well known for his electricity work and his equations on electricity and a whole lot of other contributions he made to mathematics and the world of electricity. Now, of course, he knew Einstein as well. They were in different areas of work back then with Einstein and his physics and Maxwell and his electricity. And I think from what I've read, Maxwell even helped Einstein with some of his maths. Now, the thing that we don't know publicly, which I've been digging into with James Clerk Maxwell, is his original treatise and his original work was actually looking at linking 4 space geometric potentials to 3 space vector fields in terms of electricity. And this intrigued me because essentially what he's saying is that space is electric and 4-dimensional, and that there is a link mathematically with 3-dimensional vector fields in physical space. So where I think we went wrong is because Einstein won out and the 4th dimension was eventually called time, Maxwell's original work sort of fell by the wayside. And from what I can find out, a guy called Heaviside wrote or rewrote the equations and wrote out the links to 4 space geometric potentials. And from what I can gather, it's really hard to find the original work, and I still haven't found it. But what I have found is, and it's been alluded to, that the US Army has a copy of that original work because it seems to be coveted and linked to scalar weapons technology. And if you try and find any work on electric space, it's really hard. It's either in the dark recesses and dusty corners of science, or it's been removed from science. And even people that work in that area have had unusual circumstances surrounding their career, which I'll get into later on. But what intrigued me about these 4 space geometric potentials is straight away I'm reminded of field repulsion technology. We've got all these other terms around for UAPs and UFOs. We've got anti-gravity, we've got propellantless propulsion, and other physical measures or explanations for the way UAPs function. But I think these terms are all incorrect and probably pushed by counterintelligence to avoid using or looking at field repulsion technology, both in nature and in terms of people that have worked in that area, because I think it's quite likely linked to the way UAPs function if we consider the 4th dimension as electric space, and that geometric potentials can be harnessed and stored potential energy converted to kinetic energy in a 3-space vector field, which implies that energy is everywhere and can be harnessed in the 4th dimension. And if you consider the fact that a UAP appears to jump between coordinates, and if we say that, well, that's scalar, it occurs in the 4th dimension, there is no vector because there's no velocity, what we're essentially doing is jumping through electric space between 2 relative sets of coordinates. I think this has a lot to do with the field repulsion, the repulsion field that's developed by the harnessing of available energy in UAP. And I'd like to discuss that in a lot more detail moving forward, and how historically James Clerk Maxwell's work that's been taken offline is linked to a whole series of events and other characters since him through pre and post World War II and up into the 80s and 90s. I think this is key. I think our missing science is there somewhere, and it should be next to general relativity, quantum mechanics, and your Newtonian physics. And I think that has all to do with electric space, 4D scalar potentials, and the fourth dimension. So I'll leave it at that for now. That's my 5-minute rant about one particular person and his links to everything else. We'll get into some other people moving forward, and we'll talk again in the next episode.